changing my phone. I practiced it the last couple of days. And last night at 11 p.m. I decided to scrap it. I'm gonna speak from the heart here. The last couple of years that I spoke here, I memorized my speech and I talked about it, but I thought I want to do something different. Look, most of you who heard me speak last year or the year before that know a part of my story. That I started in 2018 at 23. 3 years later, I was making $70,000 to $100,000 a monthly income. And shortly after that, I became the youngest $1 million earner in the company. Here's what most of you don't know. I actually had my first experience with WFG in 2014 when I was 19. And I gave this thing everything I had for 2.5 years and ended up quitting. That's the part of my story I want to talk about with you today. Look, it's so easy for you to get discouraged when you hear that first part of the story and think, oh my God, how did he get such good results? How am I ever going to be like him? But that's the problem with comparison. You don't actually know the full story. Here's the full story. I started this company when I was 19 years old, and I came into it with my only job experience being working at Starbucks for 2 months, and I was such a bad barista, the manager literally begged me to quit. It wasn't funny for her, she was literally begging me. So if there's anyone here that is wondering, am I good enough for this? Can I really build a financial services business? Am I qualified to be here? I wasn't even qualified to work at Starbucks. If that's not enough, I had no market either. And whatever market I did have saw zero credibility in me. But you know what? I was committed. I was committed to changing my life. I was committed to winning. And I remember every single morning I would wake up with dread, anxiety, fear, wondering how the heck am I gonna make this thing happen? Every day I would wake up and go, where am I gonna find 3 people to talk to today? I read all the books. I listened to audiobooks every time I got in a car. And I remember I read Schwann's book, Assistant Builder, and he goes, stay out till 11 p.m. every day and you'll make this thing work. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. 12, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. I drive to every single mall that was in my vicinity just to talk to some people. And then it'd be 10 p.m. and I'm like, well, I can't go home. So I will go to 5 different gas stations and talk to the people that are working there too. Some nights I would go to a hookah lounge. I didn't even smoke hookah. I couldn't even afford a hookah. So I would just get a tea just to talk to the people around me. And after 2 years of doing all of that, the first year I made $8,000. The second year I made $22,000. I recruited over 100 people over that 2 years, and most of them, almost all of them, quit within 48 hours. Quitting is actually nice. They went into the witness protection program. To this day, I don't know if they're in the country or somewhere else. I got so desperate at some point that I'm like, if I can just have someone stay with me for a week, where when I call them, they actually keep picking up, I might make it here. I remember I had one team member, after 20 recruits, that actually booked a presentation with someone else, and I walked in, I'm like, I'm an agency owner. I have passive income. I didn't even have to book this meeting. Right after the meeting, they both quit together. Now, as funny it is now, I'm telling you back then, it wasn't as funny. I remember coming to these conventions, and I would make my way up, talking to all the leaders, shaking their hands, hoping that maybe they'll cough on me and I'll get the virus of success. And you know what I was thinking when I was sitting where you're sitting? Do they know how hard I'm working? Do they know how much I'm sacrificing?
We love you, Nima!
Do they know how much anxiety I have to fight through every day just to get out there and make this thing happen? Do they know that I'm a nobody that wants to be a somebody? And I promised myself, I said, when I get on this stage, I'll talk about this. Last year, I chose not to. The year before that, I chose not to. This year just happens to be the year that I'm going to talk about. So if there's somebody sitting here who feels like a nobody, who feels like we don't know how hard you're working, who feels like we don't know how much you're sacrificing, I promise you, we know. Everyone that comes up to me to shake my hand or get a picture, I always tell them I'm so proud of them. And they're probably confused, because like, what do you mean you're proud of me? You don't know me. Trust me, I know you. I know what you're going through. I know the amount of rejection you have to deal with. I know the amount of pain you have to deal with. I know how much you have to sacrifice just to be here. I used to go to Walmart in Canada, pack my suitcase with snacks because I couldn't afford the food at the convention centers. I would come here with 6 people in a room. One person would be in a bathtub. That's the guy who paid the least. I remember one year I ran out of money halfway through, so I was just buying $1 cookies from McDonald's. With inflation now, nothing's $1. But I'm telling you, we get it. We know exactly what you're going through. We went through it. We know how hard it is. We know how painful it is. And I'm telling you right now, you are somebody. You are a winner. That chapter of your book just hasn't come up yet. And if you stay here long enough, we can read it together on this stage. But I want to share with you just a couple pointers that I learned in that first 2 years that helped me do what I did from 2018 and onwards. Here's the first thing that I learned, and I had to learn this the hard way. Work ethic is not enough. A lot of us come into this with an employee mindset where we think we're going to trade time for money. In entrepreneurship, you can only trade results for money. So when I was here for that first 2 years, all I did was work hard, work hard, work hard. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't out-improve anyone. I didn't out-strategize anyone. I didn't outlast anyone. I just outworked everyone. So if you want to win, you got to do all four. You got to outwork, out-strategize, outlast, and out-improve. Now some of you are like, well, Nima, I'm doing it. Why is it still not happening? Maybe you're just not doing it long enough. Because you got to become $1 million earner years before you get paid $1 million for it. Now I got an advice for you. If you're sitting there going, you know what, I am doing enough, I am doing enough, it's gonna take time. And when the time comes, it'll happen. Let me share something. Only the paranoid survive. Every day I would tell myself, what can I do more? Where can I push more? Where can I drive more? Because the last thing I wanted was for 2 years to pass, 3 years to pass, 4 years to pass, and I look back and I go, oh shoot, I was wrong. Maybe I wasn't doing enough. So my advice to you is, do way more than you think you need to do, just in case you're wrong. Because nothing is worse than regret. Here's my second advice, but the second thing that I learned to do. Train your mind to make your feelings irrelevant in the face of your commitments. I already told you, I woke up with anxiety every day trying to do what I had to do to make it here. But you know how I overcame the resistance of my feelings? Because to this day, most days I don't feel like waking up early. Most days I don't feel like going to the gym or prospecting or running meetings. But the way I overcome the resistance of my feelings to do what I need to do is I imagine the pain and nightmare associated with not taking action. Because here's the thing, our mind doesn't know the difference between our imagination and our reality. So for me, I imagine the consequences of not taking action, and that's what drove me and forced me into discipline. And if you do the same, you'll be on this stage sharing your story for all of us to hear. Thank you.